Hi all, welcome back. So in this video we're going to look at our second exercise for our elliptical or conic sections. So in this case we're going to draw in this example of a bridge that we can see here in Venice. So the elliptical shape then is often used, particularly in architecture, because it gives a very strong shape. So it means that you can reduce the amount of material required for your arch an awful lot, but yet you can still maintain quite a lot of stability. And particularly for spanning large areas, the ellipse would have been used quite a lot in architecture, traditionally anyway, and certainly even modernly. So we're told to draw the bridge using the constructions clearly, showing all constructions clearly. So in this case, we're going to use our concentric circles method. It's probably the easiest method to use this. We're drawing in our semi-ellipse here, so it's half of an ellipse, which is a semi-ellipse. And we can see that we can have the dimensions then to fill in the handrails and so on and so forth for the different aspects of the bridge. Part B then we're asked to create a new design for the handrail. So whether you want vertical spacing like that, you can use your division of lines method if you want to divide it up nice and evenly. So that's good practice of say a previous technique, or you could come in a more abstract design for it. It's a nice little thing when you're designing your own questions to try and incorporate as many different kind of skills as possible, or even have a little additional pieces to a question. So if you have a student who's finished early, well, they can work on putting in a nice design for the actual bridge. And if they like did a scroll design, you could link that back then to say something like, tangent circles, something a topic that they might have done previously. So it keeps them kind of engaged in the work, but it actually means it gives other people a chance to catch up as well, rather than letting them sit there and just getting bored. Then you're basically just training them to go slower. So let's have a look at the setup here. So here we can see, again, just I would ignore the actual spacing here at that. Just try and keep it as, um, try and get as many of these on the page as possible. Even if you wanted to divide the page into four, you should be able to fit all four on your first page anyway. So looking at our drawing, we just put in our major axis first of all. So it's 130 millimeter for the major axis. So we can have that then, and that's going to give us what, 65 either side. Then we go and we draw in half the minor axis then, which is going to be 35 millimeters. We can draw in our semicircle for our minor auxiliary circle, and then we can use our radius there for the half the major to give us half of our major auxiliary circle. So like before, we're going to use our set squares there. So with our 60, 30, so there is our 60, there's our 30. Turn the set square around, and we can draw in our 60, 30 far side there like that. And like we saw in our last example, where our ordinate here crosses the major auxiliary circle, we're going to go parallel to the minor. Where it crosses the minor auxiliary circle, we're going to go parallel to the major. So in this case, up and across. So there we can see parallel to the minor axis from where it hits the major. And there we can see then with our set square across then, so that's parallel to the major axis from where it hits the minor auxiliary circle. So there is our points like that. And you can see we're going to freehand in. And again, just make sure you're trying to get a nice, easy curve there. That change the page as you go along. Tilt the page or move your own body as you go along. Try to keep your wrist kind of moving. So you want to be moving with your wrist, not your fingers. Your fingers should be pretty kind of, you know, pretty moving pretty fluidly. You want to get, moving a circular arc with your wrist, trying to keep that one, nice continuous curve at that. My tip is always try and take 3 points at a time. So, try and get a nice smooth curve, go over it a few times, and then put pen to paper, get your first part, then go the next 3 points. Again, try and get a nice smooth curve. And you can always go back over it then afterwards, nice and slowly, giving you a nice fine curve. So that's our semi-ellipse here. We're going to go and put in the bridge, so we can just use our dimensions. So it's 130. You can see here 65. So the overall width of this, so 60 by 60 is 120. Plus 10 is going to be 130, and plus 50 is going to be 180. So if it's 180 minus 30, so that's going to be 30 minus 80 is 30 minus, sorry, 80, 80 minus 30, 80, 60, it's like 70, 60, 50, 50. So it's 25 mil either side. It took me a bit longer than I should have really here now. So there we go, there's our 25, yeah. 25 there. And then we just fill it in basically, the height up 25 there, and then another 20 for our bridge. Um, and then we can see the angle here is 20 degrees. So with our protractor, we can set the center of the protractor there, measure our 20, like so. And then we just fill in the rest of it. So you can reuse your protractor again for the top here at that. Actually, you don't need to, because we know that we're after coming up 20, and then from here it'll be up 20 as well. So up 20 there, up 20, and just join the two dots. So there's our bridge at that. And then, as I say, all you can do then is, come up with your own design for the actual handrail at that. And actually in Venice, it's something that you see some amazingly beautiful um, scroll work and kind of ironwork for the actual bridges themselves. There's some really, really lovely examples in Venice of that. So that's something, another area that students themselves could actually investigate into. You're trying to kind of link in both the drawing, but also the research and the application side as well. So that's our exercise completed. Hopefully this is kind of fairly clear for you.